I think back to World War II, like you spoke about Pearl Harbor, and it makes me think about when there was the Blitz and the bombing on London. In London, there were about like 70,000 civilians who were killed by Germany, whereas there were several million German civilians who were killed by Allied bombing. And it's one of those things that you don't really hear people talking about it. They don't talk about proportion when it comes to that. They don't talk, well, they shouldn't have done that. And the point you bring up, which I think is so important, which is why. Why did Germany bomb London versus why did London retaliate? And I think it makes a lot of sense when you frame it like that. Now, number one, is Israel illegally occupying Gaza and the West Bank? Number two, is there actually an apartheid in Israel? Slash, is Israel committing a genocide against the Palestinian people? And number three, does Israel have a right to exist?
I mean, I don't see them as loaded questions. They're very simple facts on the ground. First of all, the establishment of the State of Israel came under the British mandate, which was a superpower controlling that territory. Prior to the British, there were the Ottoman Empire. Prior to that, there was the Arabs, Turks, Muslims, Byzantines, Romans, all type of people walked throughout this region. It's the gate that is connecting continents. And many traders, many forces came in there. And prior to that, of course, was not only one Jewish kingdom, but we had more than one Jewish kingdom in the kingdoms in that territory. So it's always changing. There was no such a thing as, from the beginning of existence that there was, let's say, for example, a Palestine, and those invaders came to Palestine. There was no such a thing as Palestine. There is still no such a thing, Palestine. It's just a broad term, a cause that infinite forces of existence have been hijacking this hypothetical thing called Palestine, pushing their agendas from the East and the West. And people continue to believe in this. Prior, let's say, to the establishment of the State of Israel, there were for sure the British. And it was part of Sykes-Picot agreement between France and Britain to divide the land, and they gave some to Jordan, they gave other part to the Jewish people, and it was the Balfour Promise. Based on that promise, many Jews after World War II and after the atrocities of the Holocaust began to migrate legally with documents to that territory under the British mandate. And this is basically like in a simple history background of how the State of Israel came about. Then the establishment of Israel happened. The Arabs went outrageous and they said, this is our holy land and we cannot give it, especially to the Jews. I don't know whether if Israel saw that coming or not. Israel fought for itself, and we are building our country here. Into the story, we are not going to relocate again. We had enough at the Holocaust. We came here as legal under the British mandate. Finish, end of the story. It's some tribes saying that this is our land and you are invading our land. Go take it from the British. So the Arabs refused completely to coexist with this newborn state, even though the international community, including Great Britain, gave the Arabs the opportunity to establish an Arab state side by side the State of Israel, even though the land is very small. But the Arabs refused, and they insisted on annihilating the State of Israel. It took them many years. When they came back in 1967 to destroy the State of Israel, Israel was extremely outnumbered. A majority of Arab countries participated in that, many volunteers. We're talking about Israel was outnumbered a dozen times, something like that. But the Arabs lost the war. Somehow they lost the war. And as an outcome of the 1967 war, miraculously, Israel controlled the territory where the United Nations and the international community proposed a potential Arab state next to the state of Israel. And that was the West Bank, Golan Heights, Sinai, Gaza. So the Arab lost this land as outcome of the war, that Israel did not intentionally wanted to expand territory. It just, the war happened in this region. And as Israel has defended itself against the Arab invasion, they took control of the land. So tell me, who has the right to actually write the terms to the other? The victor or the defeated? The Arabs did not accept the two-state solution back in 1947, 1948. So they wanted violence. They wanted by the means of violence. No, first we destroy Israel, then we build an Arab state. That was their condition. This is why they lost the war, and this is why they lost territory. But then, if the Arabs just realized that victors only write history, only the victor, not the defeated, this is how it goes. But they don't want to accept this truth. And they kept trying to write the terms to Israel. It didn't work. And this last war in Gaza, just another example. Israel withdrew from Gaza, but Hamas launched a war. And now the scenario is repeating itself. What Israel would do in case they win the war against Hamas? Who will write the future? Who will decide to the other, the victor or the defeated? This is why the Arabs haven't learned, and again, it's very hard to say, because, I left the region so many years. I would say Arabs, because I don't know, if it was a matter of blood, my blood is Arab, but it has been so many years that I dropped all this idea of nationalism and all this type of absurd beliefs and stupidity, that I feel like, I belong to a different universe. It's not even Earth. But anyway, if I had to descend and go to that mentality, we're very arrogant people. And we don't accept defeat. And every time we are defeated, but we try to pose as we are victorious, like somebody get beaten up so badly, but then shake up the dust and pretend that that they were the victor in the thing. It's a very arrogant mentality that is stuck in a vicious cycle of pride, of shame, of guilt, very low level of consciousness. And they haven't grown up out of it. And I really would love for them to just grow up and forget about the political border and see Israel for what it is. Israel is not an apartheid state, because when you go to the state of Israel, you have all types of ethnicities, especially minorities, like Christians, Druze, Muslims. Arabic in Israel is an official language. And it's even before English. There is Hebrew, there is Arabic, then there is English. In the state of Israel, you have representatives of the Arab communities within the Israeli parliament, within the Israeli Knesset. The Arabs are very important part of the social fabric, the Israeli social fabric. They play a significant role in security and many other departments. There are many of them doctors, and they just work side by side. They're a very important part of the state of Israel. And they are not small. We're talking about 1.5 million Arabs. And if you go to this Arab minority in Israel, tell them, hey, would you drop your Israeli citizenship and go to any Arab country? They will kill you. It's as simple as that. They won't trade it for anything. And by the way, many of the Palestinians, it's their dream actually to become Israeli citizens, including Hamas leaders. You would find very long lines trying to get permanent residency in Israel, which was fascinating for me. You hate Israel so much, but all of you want to live in Israel. All of you want to work in Israel. So we have this type of self-delusion and deception lie upon lie. And Israel cannot be an apartheid state, not like this. Of course, you find some racist people, close-minded people, fanatics. They are everywhere, but they're not majority. And when they surface, the collective consciousness of the Jewish people reject this type of extremists. We saw how Israel demonstrate their democracy continuously, could go for eternity, and in a peaceful manner when they see some extreme forces rising within the society. It's a very beautiful nation, real people. It cannot be, you will never find abuse against Arab workers who work there on regular basis, coming, by the way, from Gaza, where Israel allowed tens of thousands of workers just the eve of October 7 attack. They were just easing it on the Gazan people, bringing them, giving them work permit to come work and go back to their homes in the evening to help the Palestinian economy. Because Israel felt the responsibility. We have to help rejuvenate their economy under the siege, hoping that things would change for better. So taking those workers, you will not see, they have all the rights in the world as manpower, laborers, etc. You see, it's on a regular basis, Israel dealing with hundreds of thousands of Arab laborers in its state. So for those who say Israel is an apartheid state, they just really want to accuse and condemn Israel for, I don't know, whatever motive they have, mostly hatred, I think, mostly hatred.